Welcome into One-on-One and OSU Student Radio KXUI, Sunlink Channel 112, live for Studio 318. I'm Reed Spencer, joined by my co-host Logan Mosier. As always, we missed Monday for a holiday, which was good. It was a nice break after we started, but we missed championship weekend on Sunday. The Rams and Saints and the Patriots and Chiefs. Obviously, the Rams and Patriots are headed to the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
I don't think that's the matchup that anyone wanted, but it's the matchup we got. So we'll start with the Rams and the Saints. I don't even know where to start because we can talk about the game. We can talk about Todd Gurley going absent. We can talk about Sean Payton maybe mismanaging the game. Drew Brees' arm disappearing the last 2 weeks of the season. But the person that you never want to take part in the outcome of a game is an official.
Right.
And an official is maybe the reason the Saints aren't going to the Super Bowl.
I understand where people are coming from with that, but I mean, they're for sure they could have run out the clock and kicked the field goal and won the game after that. But they still had the ball first in overtime. So I don't like the idea that the refs ruined their chances at the Super Bowl. They definitely affected the outcome of the game. But Drew Brees still played terribly in overtime. Sean Payton was terrible down the stretch managing the game, like you said. I don't want to say the best team still won, but I think the team that game planned better and got lucky went to the Super Bowl, and I'm okay with that. I don't have a problem. I don't want Roger Goodell to change the outcome of the game or make them replay part of the game like some Saints fans are wanting, and that is obviously pass interference. Everyone and their mom and everyone's little son, it doesn't matter who you are, you know that's pass interference.
Right.
But you got to live with that. You got to live with human error. That's part of sports. And the Rams capitalized on a bad break for the Saints.
Well, I mean, Greg Zuerlein hit two big kicks.
Oh my gosh, yes.
One to send them to overtime, one to win the game. You said it perfectly. Drew Brees wasn't good in overtime. He threw that interception. Yeah. I mean, why does that cost? That didn't cost them the game because they still had a chance to score after that. They had a chance to stop the Rams. They had a chance to score in overtime. It's not the official's fault. So I'm not all these people, wanting to sue the NFL or are suing the NFL. People want Roger Goodell to institute the rule where he could overturn the outcome of a game. That's never going to happen. And I get this, people are probably just suing to say they were a part of it and they're airing their grievances. I get that aspect of it. But this is not why the Saints lost the game. The Saints lost the game because if they were up 21-0 instead of 13-0, it might have been a different game.
Yeah.
And so Sean Payton needs to be held accountable for it. Drew Brees needs to be held accountable for it. But while I'm not going to completely defend the refs because they got it wrong. And they failed at their job on the biggest stage and the biggest moment of the second or third biggest game of the NFL season. That official should be fired.
Yeah.
Immediately.
I don't think that guy will ever officiate another game because that was one of the biggest games of the year, obviously. It's a championship game, and you blow a call like that, you don't deserve to be a full-time NFL ref, which I wouldn't have any problem with him losing his job. And I hate to say that. I hate to say this guy should be fired, but he should. He did his job terribly.
Yeah.
And you don't deserve to continue to be an official after that. But I believe we have some quotes from Drew Brees and Sean Payton after the game, if we can hear those real quick.
So, I mean, you heard from Sean Payton and Drew Brees there. And, I mean, Drew Brees took a little bit more accountability for it. I mean, he took the high road, which you would expect from Drew Brees.
Exactly.
Sean Payton talked about contacting the league office, which I think, the league has, and they've said,
it was a blown call.
That was a blown call.
Yeah.
And I just don't know what steps the league needs to take from now on. Now there's talk about.
I don't think you can. Are you about to say to make pass interference reviewable?
Yeah, reviewable.
You can't. I don't think you can do that. Because what does everyone hate most? It's when the refs are staring at that little screen like this.
Right.
And they're just looking at it and looking at it and looking at it. And the game takes an extra half an hour because they're looking at a screen. You can't let the refs interfere with the game this much, because then you're going to get super slow-mo and you're going to be like, well, maybe he hadn't quite turned his head all the way at this point.
Well, they're terrible at review anyways.
Yeah.
I mean, one consistency with NFL officiating is it's bad.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to say that I could go on the field and it's hard to see that live. It's hard.
Right.
But that's your job. That's what you're supposed to be good at.
Right.
You wouldn't be able to go do what Drew Brees did. But you don't say that you could.
Yeah.
I mean, these officials have this responsibility to be an official in the National Football League, and they screwed it up in one of the biggest moments. It's unacceptable. They should never be a part of the game. But I mean, it's 3rd and 10 there. It's unfortunate, but they got the field goal. They still had the chance to stop the Rams, and they didn't do it. They had the chance in overtime. They didn't do it.
Yeah.
And so it's inexcusable, but the Rams are going to the Super Bowl, and the Saints are just going to have to get over it.
That's right. And, it's been a rough couple of years for the Saints. I think we can both say that. They had the Minneapolis Miracle last year, and then they get one step closer, but then this happens.
It's unfortunate.
It's unfortunate, but it happens. There's been worse that's happened to teams. I think the Bills got to 4 straight Super Bowls and lost 4 straight.
The 4 falls of Buffalo.
Yeah.
4 in a row,
so, it's not, fans of New Orleans, it's not the end of the world. There will be another year.
And, I mean, they got a Super Bowl in 2009,
right.
So it's not like they're completely,
right.
Inept to winning. Now, historically, the Saints have been bad most of their history, but, I think now what the hardest part is to deal with as a Saints fan and the Saints organization is, either one of these teams, I think, probably would have beat the Patriots in the Super Bowl. But you go and you look at it, Drew Brees and what his arm did the last month and half of the season.
It's not good.
There's not many of these opportunities left for the Saints.
No.
Not with Drew Brees. And Drew Brees is the reason they've been able to get to these points. So that's the tough part if you're a Saints fan, because Drew Brees' career is winding down.
Right.
He may play for 5 more years, but you're not going to have MVP-type numbers for probably maybe not even next year, because his arm really fell off this last part of the season. So that's the hard thing to look at if you're a Saints fan, is their window is closing.
Right. And that's just how it works in sports. Your window, you have to capitalize on your window. No one's window is open for an extremely long amount of time. I mean, obviously, you can look at oddities like the Patriots. They've had different kinds of windows, though. They haven't had just a dominant stretch. They've had little chunks over the past 20 years where they've been dominant.
I mean, they went 11 years without a Super Bowl, which for most people is a dream, but for them it seems kind of crazy. But Drew Brees, 26-40, 249 yards, the 2 touchdowns and that 1 interception. He did get sacked 7 times, or 2 times, for 7 yards. And, Jared Goff was 25-40, 297 yards, the 1 touchdown and 1 interception. Todd Gurley disappeared, 4 carries, 10 yards, had 1 6-yard touchdown. C.J. Anderson, I mean, he only had 44 yards. It's not like he was doing much, but I don't expect Todd Gurley to have that performance in the Super Bowl, do you?
I hope not. The Rams better hope not. They have no shot if Todd Gurley plays like that in the Super Bowl, because, he's on the bike and you're wondering what happened, and I still don't know what the injury is or what they're saying the injury is, but you got to hope he puts it together before the Super Bowl.
Well, I mean, the thing is, if you're into this game, the Saints are up 13-0 at the end of the first quarter. The Patriots, although they had a 14-0 halftime lead against the Chiefs and kind of blew it, in those moments, they're not going to let the Rams get away with those moments. Not in the Super Bowl. It's not going to happen. So the Rams have to play a much better first half. And obviously we'll break down the Super Bowl matchup all next week. So the Patriots take the Chiefs into overtime, get a 37-31 win.
Yep.
And there's controversy in this game as well, because people think that the Chiefs should have had a chance to have the ball. Do you think the rule should be changed?
I have a hard time coming to terms with the way the rules are now. I don't like that both teams don't get to touch the ball. I don't like that Patrick Mahomes got to sit and watch Tom Brady drive down the field and win the game. And I would hate to see Tom Brady sit on the bench and watch Patrick Mahomes drive down the field and win the game without giving Tom Brady a chance. I think everyone deserves a chance. I don't know if you go to the college rules but move it to the 50 or whatever. But I think something has to change where you get an opportunity to answer if the first team scores with a touchdown. I just think that's how it needs to be. I don't know how it has to get there, but it has to get there. Well,
this game was an interesting one because it was 14-0 at halftime.
Yeah.
there's stories out now that Patrick Mahomes at halftime stood up in front of the team and said, I'm going to score 30 points. And he was wrong. He scored 31. Patrick Mahomes in the first half was not good, but they gave him a lot of different looks.
Right.
They kind of confused him, and I wasn't a big fan of the play calling. But in the second half, I mean, he went off. He outplayed Tom Brady in the second half.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. He had an insane second half. And, you know, we kind of mentioned Drew Brees' window is closing. I'm not saying Patrick Mahomes is anywhere near his window closing, but they have to capitalize and get defense.
Yeah, and, I mean, they did that by firing Bob Sutton, 31st overall. They lost in all 4 of their losses in the regular season and playoff loss. They scored more than 28 points. That includes a 40 and 51-point performance.
You should not lose if you score more than 30.
No, and to all the people out there, I mean, the Tony Romo, he can call plays. He's a magician. It was an elementary defense that in overtime, the Patriots had 3rd and 10 3 times, and they ran the same play and had the same result. Tony Romo is very brilliant at what he does. But I was in Arrowhead, and the people next to me, including me, were telling you this is what's going to happen. You could see it. People at home could see it. So as brilliant as Tony Romo is, we need to pump the brakes on that.
Because you don't want to miss your D coordinator?
Oh, my gosh. Any veteran could sit there in the NFL and tell you that. Because people like myself who do not have the knowledge of Tony Romo are like, this is what you're going to do to stop him? And it just didn't work.
Yeah.
So the Chiefs, I mean, they had a better offense than the Rams. I mean, they were more electric. They had a bad defense, and it cost them in the end. But the overtime rules, as soon as the Chiefs lost the coin toss, the game was over because you knew their defense couldn't get stops. Now, to their credit, 2 interceptions and 2 4th-down stops. If the Chiefs would have been able to capitalize with that offense in the first half, they would have had a touchdown. They probably would have won this game. But you have to give the other team the opportunity in overtime. You just have to, especially in the AFC Championship game. But at the end of the day, you're given 60 minutes to prove yourself. And neither team did that. So you can't necessarily use that argument. But the Patriots got lucky going into overtime. But a comeback for the Chiefs, I mean, with 2 minutes left and 3 timeouts, Tom Brady went down and scored to take the lead. With 33 seconds left and 1 timeout, Patrick Mahomes led the Chiefs down and got a field goal.
Yeah.
Patrick Mahomes is the best quarterback in the National Football League. And people on this set or out there say, well, you're a Chiefs fan. That second half proved otherwise. To stand up in front of your team and say, we're scoring 30 points, and he did it against the Patriots, the Chiefs are very lucky to have him for 15 years. But you are right. They have about a 2 or 3 year window before they're going to have to give him $200 million.
Right.
They need to get it. They need to capitalize on it now. But it started with firing Bob Sutton, which probably should have taken place a long time ago. But it was unfair in overtime, I think. But you have those 60 minutes, and they just didn't do it in a very, very bad first half.
Yeah, and I mean, like you said, everyone gets 60 minutes. I wonder what would happen if the Chiefs won the coin toss. But
I would be wearing a Super Bowl shirt.
I think you would. I think you would. And in a couple weeks, you might be wearing a Super Bowl champion shirt.
Well, when they lost to the Rams in an emotional Los Angeles, they put up 51 points lost and turned the ball over 5 times, including 2 pick sixes. That wouldn't happen again.
Yeah. So
it's frustrating.
Who do you want to? What kind of moves on the defensive side do you want to see?
Fire them all.
Fire them all.
Dee Ford, obviously, with that offsides that cost the Chiefs the game, but I mean, he made a mistake. By the way, the Patriots were in a legal set, so if the refs did their job like they failed to do, it would have been offsetting penalties. But I mean, they have to dedicate their draft to the secondary, and it may be time to move on from Eric Berry. He is having surgery.
That was my next question.
Yeah, I mean, he's just not healthy. He should have never been on the active roster this year. He should have never been in the AFC Championship game. I mean, he can't run.
Yeah.
And that's not Eric Berry getting old. That's because he has a serious heel injury. He needs to have surgery, and he's going to have it now. But they got to dedicate, rebuild the secondary, get a couple more defensive linemen, and obviously got to find a new defense coordinator. So,
are there any names that you have off the top of your head you want for that defensive coordinator spot?
I mean, there's been some talk. Brent Venables is not going to leave Clemson for that job. They've thrown around Rex Ryan. I don't want that. The news out today is Steve Spagnuolo, the former Rams head coach. He's had a few top 10 defenses that he might be getting the job. But I don't know. I would like John Fox or Jack Del Rio.
But not Tony Romo? No Tony Romo?
No, Tony Romo. Leave him in the booth. He does a really good job.
I think he needs to stay in the booth.
Yes, he needs to stay in the booth. Plus, he'd probably break his back doing anything else. So we're going to take a quick break, come back, and talk about all the things going on in the NBA. You're watching One-on-One on Suddenlink Channel 112.
One-on-One is brought to you by Tinker Federal Credit Union. Visit facebook.com/TinkerFCU. While you're there for your family, we're there for you. Tinker Federal Credit Union. And OSU Communications. Not sure where to park? OSU Communications has got you covered with parking tips and bus schedule information. We'll be right back.
Determining your future by selecting a major can be difficult.
It's okay to be undecided.
Connect with the College of Arts and Sciences, where your options are endless.
Where you can uncover your passions and achieve your goals.
Express your creativity by exploring a career in the visual and performing arts.
Investigate new discoveries to make the world a better place with a career in science.
Advance knowledge, communicate progress, and contribute to a healthier planet with a career rooted in the social sciences.
Discover your career by looking at the world from different perspectives through the humanities.
Realize a better tomorrow through problem solving and mining data that can change lives.
Cash for Crazy to succeed through internships, study abroad, student-guided research projects, and service activities.
With 109 majors, 52 minors, and 24 departments, the only thing missing is you. College of Arts and Sciences.
Connect.
Achieve. Succeed.
When you have a team of physicians and nurses that really truly care about their patients, that translates into patient care.
It's a small practice, it's a small town. Everybody really takes that time to put the patient first.
Everybody cares what's happening to me and that I'm making progress and I'm gaining my freedom back and my mobility back. This patient is saying thank you.
This spring, I invite you to shop in downtown Stillwater. Downtown Stillwater is home to locally owned shops, boutiques, eateries, and dependable professionals that you can trust. Find the perfect gift for your graduate, have a delicious meal with mom, or just stop in to enjoy great spring savings. By creating a demand for local goods and services, you can ensure a place for the local businesses that help give our community character and keep it unique. On behalf of Downtown Stillwater, thank you for shopping local.
Welcome back to One-on-One on OSU Student Radio KXUI, Suddenlink Channel 112, live from Studio 318. We're seeing Carmelo Anthony there, Logan. He's on his fifth team.
In his natural habitat. He's the best in the gym. I think he's undefeated in the gym, but his NBA career has taken a downturn.
I have a list of questions here to get me to my next point. So he's traded from the Rockets to the Bulls. He's probably not going to play for Chicago.
Right.
Maybe. He's probably going to get traded to another team, which would make it 6 teams in one calendar year. So Carmelo to the Bulls. Where do you rank Carmelo all time?
He's in the top 100, 75 to 100.
75 to 100, okay. Let's put him at 75 just for the sake of this. Is he a Hall of Famer?
Yes.
Is this the worst ending to a Hall of Fame career you've ever seen?
That's a good question. It's up there. I'm trying to think. Allen Iverson's up there. Allen Iverson never gave up. It's between Carmelo Anthony and Allen Iverson.
So Carmelo, I think that the best thing for him right now is this to be his last year, but his agent needs to find a team where he can just play out this season, and he's not going to be playing meaningful minutes for anybody. This is not going to happen. He can't contribute to a championship team.
Right.
I mean, unless he went to the Golden State Warriors, and that's just not going to happen. But where does he go from now? Because now he's just becoming a place to dump money. I mean, he's just a chess piece. I mean, he's just getting moved around.
Right. You're talking about places he could play to end out the year. I'm trying to think. I think it would be great if he went back to New York. They obviously are not trying to win.
You don't say.
He could contribute to that. Someone I think a lot of people think he could help is Portland coming off the bench. That's the key, though. How likely is he to come off the bench?
I mean, he's got to accept that role.
He has to, but Will he? He doesn't technically have to. Like, he doesn't have to do anything. He can try and fight it. He'll just be out of the league a lot sooner. But I'm trying to think. Portland, LA keeps coming up. I don't see that working. I don't see LeBron signing off on that. There's nowhere like you said, there's nowhere he can contribute on a championship level team.
Right, and that's what you would think. I mean, Vince Carter never sold himself out for a championship team, but
I wish he did.
I mean, people will tell you, well, it doesn't matter. You know, if DeMarcus Cousins gets a ring, he's still going to have a ring in 10 years.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just the way it is. People can heckle you about how you got it, but you got it.
I mean, yeah.
People would talk about the Heat rings being spoiled because of the big three. You don't really hear that much talk of that now.
Yeah.
So you should go get a championship. But he's not good enough now to deal with the headache. He's just not worth it, which is unfair. I don't think Carmelo's a bad guy. I just don't think he understands his role and how good he is anymore.
Yeah, I agree. Everything I've read, he's a great teammate, great guy, but the game has changed and his play style just doesn't work anymore. The dump it down to the guy in the post and let him dribble it 8-9 times and shoot a turnaround mid-range jump shot. Right. That's just everything the league hates. That's just everything that doesn't work anymore. So he would kind of have to transition into a spot-up shooter, or there's not a lot he can do anymore. He doesn't even have that great of a jump shot anymore. His legs seem to be totally gone. He would have to ride the bench for a championship team. Like you said, he would have to go to the Warriors and just ride the bench. And maybe he could contribute in that system. They seem to get a lot of good stuff out of guys that aren't so good. But
I mean, it's almost like he's just going to have to go to a lottery team now.
Yeah.
And
ride it out.
And play his way out.
Yeah.
I mean, I know you talked about Portland, but is there a borderline playoff team out there that would trade for him?
Let me look real quick. Let me look at the teams that are close. Off the top of my head, Washington would never do that. They might actually.
Well, it's not like they're known for doing
great stuff. The Kings. I think the Kings like their young core, but if Melo's bought out, they might add him off waivers. That could be a move. If he came off the bench for the Jazz, maybe. They have a good system. I don't think he wouldn't help their defense any, but they don't really need help on defense. But yeah, I'm looking, and there's not a lot of places I think he would fit very well. Detroit probably can't pay him anything. I don't think Washington would want him. He doesn't fit. Atlanta already said no. They're surprisingly not at the bottom of the East right now, but Atlanta already said no, we don't want him. Traded him to Houston. I don't think there's a home for him on a playoff team.
I don't think there is either. I think it's time for Melo to probably say his farewell to the NBA.
Just go to New York, ride the rest of the season out. They'll cheer for you at every home game, and just go away.
I mean, the Knicks are 10-35.
Yeah, they cheered for Raymond Felton the other night. That's how desperate the Knicks are.
Well, there's not a lot to cheer for as a Knicks fan, so maybe bringing Carmelo back would add a spark, and they're not going anywhere.
Right.
I mean, there's really no point, so that may be his best option. And surely you would think Melo would be okay with that.
Yeah.
But that would be, it would be 5 teams in 1 year, 6 moves.
Yeah.
But it's just unfortunate the way things have gone for Carmelo, but I think he's partly to blame for that.
Yeah.
I mean, he's not totally rid of responsibility from this, so he's got to move on, but I think we could probably both agree it's time for him to go. James Harden came out and, he's one of the best hoopers of all time, said he deserves a chance. I just think he deserves a chance to play out on a team, and that's what we kind of talked about. So we'll see what happens with Carmelo, but right now he's a Chicago Bull. Sort of, not really. Yeah, not a good time to be a Chicago Bull. It's not the mid-'90s. But it is good to be a Golden State Warrior. And it has been for a few years, and it probably will continue to be. Klay Thompson tied an NBA record, hit 10 straight three-pointers.
10 straight.
By the way, that's not Steph Curry. That's Klay Thompson. The Splash Brothers are still good, believe it or not.
They are. And there's a guy we're going to talk about in a little bit, and you'll see him in a lot of these clips, and he has a lot to do with Klay Thompson getting these wide-open shots sometimes. It's DeMarcus Cousins. We'll talk about that in a little bit, but he adds so much. But Klay Thompson is just ridiculous. I think he has 4 different NBA records, and they're 37 points in a quarter, most points in a quarter. Most threes made in a game. He scored 10 threes in a game, almost as, I think the record still belongs to Steph, but Klay's up there with that record. And he has a couple other records, but they're just insane. Like,
when he gets hot,
he can just go. Scored 67 points in 3 quarters.
Yeah, he could have broken Kobe's 81-point record.
He could have.
Easily.
Yeah, and he's just the most insane heat check guy ever.
Yeah,
he can just go off.
It is impressive. And you talked about that one guy, DeMarcus Cousins, and that's what's crazy about this Warriors team is they could all 4 play bad, and one of them could win the game. I mean, you have Steph, Klay, now you have DeMarcus Cousins, Draymond Green,
KD,
and Kevin Durant. Kevin Durant's kind of been under the radar, it seems like, the past few weeks because earlier in the season, which I think they're just dying for storylines with this team because what is there else? I mean, they were talking about the controversy in Golden State and where KD is going to go. You haven't heard that in the last few weeks.
No, and I mean, Jackie McMullen was on The Jump yesterday on ESPN, and she said she talked to a lot of the Warriors about that blow-up between him and Draymond Green, and they all said it was the best thing that has ever happened to that team. They've been more of a team since then. And that's just what you need sometimes. When you have that much talent and that many like egos on a team, they learned how to settle it just fine, and they're going to be just fine. We said that whenever that was going on. Like,
yeah, don't worry about it.
They're not in any kind of danger. But, I mean, Kevin Durant, talking about that guy, he has put up MVP-type numbers, and his numbers are only going to get better with DeMarcus Cousins in the lineup.
That's what's scary. I mean, he scored 14 points in the opener. Now the Warriors are winners of 8 straight, 2 with DeMarcus Cousins.
Yep.
Will they lose a game in the playoffs?
Yeah, I think so.
I'll put it this way.
Okay.
If they wanted to go undefeated,
they could.
They could.
They could. But they would. The reason I think they won't is because I don't think DeMarcus Cousins is nowhere near fully in shape. You know, his cardio's not where it needs to be, and that'll take a little bit. And I think, I'm not saying that's going to run into the playoffs, but there's going to be some rust. He's only going to have so many, I think, like 3 months of full playing time before he gets into the playoffs. He's not going to know the system as well as the rest of the guys. He might get gassed a little bit, and he might get in foul trouble, you know. But, no, I think if they absolutely wanted to and they just kind of coasted for the rest of the regular season and then just turned it on in the playoffs, they could go undefeated.
Here's the good news. They've won 3 out of the last 4, right?
Yep.
And they've done it without DeMarcus Cousins.
Yeah.
And they've done it with LeBron in the East. Now LeBron, who we'll get to later, maybe on Friday, has not returned from injury yet.
Right.
But the Lakers aren't going to beat the Warriors in the playoffs.
No.
They may not even make the playoffs. So now you have that, and in the East, you have Boston who's feuding with each other. Philadelphia and Toronto are probably the best teams in the East.
I think Milwaukee's up there too.
And Milwaukee.
I think Milwaukee's currently sitting at number 1.
Right, yeah. Giannis is...
I think Giannis is... I think he is getting kind of slept on as the season goes on. He's not getting as much media attention, but he's still playing amazing. But I know I just said the Warriors could go undefeated in the playoffs. This could also blow up and they could lose.
So you think it's possible that the Warriors don't win a title this year?
I mean, it's possible every year.
Or you're right. I mean, we've seen it happen.
Yeah, it's happened once. They were close to not making the finals last year. I'm not saying I would not pick that to happen. I'm just saying there's a way this blows up. They don't have a super deep bench. Like I said, DeMarcus Cousins could not be ready to go by playoff time as good as he's going to be. But I would still pick them. I think Milwaukee's the biggest threat.
To Golden State?
Yes. I know everyone talks about Toronto with Kawhi. We're not 100% sure on his health. He's about to miss his 3rd straight game. But I think with Giannis, Chris Middleton, I think the system they are playing with right now, the way they're scoring the basketball and how they defend, they're going to be tough to beat. They're going to be a tough out in the playoffs.
Well, I think it's safe to say that the biggest threat to the Warriors isn't in the Western Conference.
Yeah.
I mean, they're probably going to make it to the finals, and that's probably where their hang-up's going to be. So we're going to take a quick break, come back, and talk about, I think you'll disagree with the James Harden MVP sentiment because I think the guy you just mentioned might be your favorite. But we're going to talk about this incredible run that James Harden has been on. We'll be right back on One-on-One. Ocean Street KXUI, Sunlink Channel 112.
One-on-One is brought to you by Oklahoma Christian University. Get your master's degree in accounting, business administration, theology, engineering, computer science, or cybersecurity from Oklahoma Christian University. Apply at oc.edu/grad. Oklahoma University is committed to offering the best graduate school experience we possibly can. Come learn and grow with us. And The Table. Stop by The Table on Thursdays at 8 p.m. to join their Bible study. Shoot Rachel an email at rachel@thetableosu.com for more information. We'll be right back.
In my mind, I was never going to walk right again. Before we were through, we had walked 23 steps. And that was my first steps of freedom. This patient is saying thank you.
One of the best 20-game stretches you've ever seen in the NBA.
Absolutely. The way he's doing it's incredible, too. Like you said, mostly unassisted. He's also averaging 8 assists.
Yeah, shocker.
I know. He seems to control the ball. I'm sure his usage rate is like close
insane.
to 100%. You know, he's definitely dominating the ball, and he's making it work. He's doing something we have not seen in a long, long time in this league. So I think since Kobe Bryant was the last guy to do something like this. And he's definitely moved up on the list of all-time scorers because this is, like you said, like it's just unreal. The thing that kills me, though, is all the threes he's taken. You know, he's had a 1 for 17 three-point shooting night. He's had 5 for 16, you know, 3 for 7's not bad. But he's had nights where he just keeps jacking up shots, and he still manages to score almost 40.
Yeah.
Like, no one can stop this guy. He's getting to the foul line at an incredible rate. I think he's shooting something close to like 15 or 13 free throws a game, which is ridiculous. Like, how can a guy shoot that many free throws? How can you not keep a guy like that off the line? But that's just what his skill is. That might be his best quality, is his ability to get to the free throw line. Yeah. You know, I think teams are more happy with him taking that step back three that he loves out on the perimeter than if he drives. I think he's much more lethal if he's driving to the basket and making contact and getting your best players or your best defenders in foul trouble.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, if you're, you know, say the Thunder are going into this, for 20 straight games, people have known. I mean, obviously everyone knew all along what a threat James Harden was going to be. But it's almost incredible to me that for 20 games, 20 teams,
no one can stop him.
Have let this happen.
Yeah.
And sure, you're going to get a couple lottery teams in there that probably really couldn't care less.
Right.
But Logan, somebody's got to stop him.
Yeah.
And I have a feeling that the only team that's going to stop him is the Houston Rockets.
Yeah.
Because Chris Paul is going to come back in the lineup.
Yeah.
And something bad's going to happen because it always does with the Houston Rockets.
Right. Yeah, I mean, I guess Philadelphia has done the best, and I say the best. He scored 37, but they lost by 28. That's what you want. If James Harden scores 58, but you beat him by 12, I think you're fine with that. But for the most part, they've been winning.
Yeah.
He's been carrying them. And that, I don't think it was that Nets game, but they played the Nets in this stretch, and they ended up losing in double overtime, or just one overtime. But it's unreal that no one has been able to stop him. The best anyone has done is 32 points. Memphis held him to 32. Memphis is one of the best defenses in the league. They have been for a while. But they held him to 32. You know who would be happy to score 32? Anyone.
Yeah, anyone.
Anyone in the league, that's a great game. And that's the worst game in this stretch for James Harden is 32 points. But technically he scored 32 twice. The other one was Denver. But
well, I mean, they really struggled going at the beginning.
Yes.
I mean, people really didn't know if they would make playoffs.
Right.
Now they're sitting at the 5th seed. They're 26-20. I mean, and in this stretch, they really haven't been incredible as a team. I mean,
James Harden has just been out of this world.
Right, and you talked about that blowout loss to the 76ers. They play the Knicks tonight. You would think they would be able to.
He's going for 100.
He's going to 81 points in New York again. I mean, it may happen.
That would be great. I'm sure Jason would love that.
Well, I mean, it'll be an interesting game to watch in Madison Square Garden.
Yeah.
But where do you envision this team? Because like I said, Chris Paul's going to come back, and that seems to typically throw a kink in what James Harden wants to do. Where do you see them ending up? If he stays on this path of destruction, of scoring 30 points.
Who would they play in the playoffs right now? They're the 5th seed.
Yeah.
They could be out in the first round because, this is not conducive to playing good in the playoffs. He's going to be tired. Like, we see it every year.
If it started today, they would play the Trailblazers.
I think they could beat the Trailblazers, but they would lose in the second round probably. I think James Harden tires himself out in the regular season with stuff like this. Like, it's all great, but how are you going to be in March, April, if you get to May, if you get to June? How are you going to be then? Because that's when it matters. Everyone talks about how the NBA regular season doesn't really matter. Those last few months matter, and that always seems to be where James Harden kind of disappears. And that's why I think he needs Chris Paul back, because Chris Paul kind of controls the offense a lot, but he doesn't let James just go absolutely nuts and dribble the ball 100 times and take a bunch of shots. I think that's what the Rockets need if they want to be successful. If this continues, it will be another disappointing postseason for James Harden, and it'll be another knock against him.
Yeah, and their last 10 games, they're 500. They're 5-5. So it's not, I mean, they're still a good basketball team. Yeah. They fought their way back. He's been on an incredible run, but you can't pretend that
this is not sustainable.
That this is the greatest thing that the NBA's ever seen as a team performance, because it's not. And right now, I mean, you kind of have to worry about, I mean, look at the Western Conference. One, you have the Golden State Warriors. I don't think the Rockets are as good as they were last year. Everyone can agree on that.
Yeah.
And now with DeMarcus Cousins, the Warriors, and now they felt that threat from the Rockets, aren't going to let that happen again. You have the Denver Nuggets. Oklahoma City's playing really well, and as a 3 seed, they better hope they don't make it to the 2 and get to Utah Jazz again, because what are we expecting from the Thunder in the playoffs? Not what you're seeing right now. And that's just going off history. But the Thunder obviously vastly improved, and we get into that Friday. But, I mean, the Trailblazers, the Spurs, the Jazz, the Clippers is probably not as bottom-heavy as it has been.
Yeah.
Because the Jazz, I don't think, are as good as last year. The Clippers, talk about not being sustainable. I mean, they won the first 2 weeks of the NBA season, give them the title. And they just don't have enough to go down the stretch. But there is some top teams there that are going to stand in the Rockets' way.
And I think you're going to see the Lakers climb back into that playoff spot whenever LeBron James comes back. How high they can get, I'm not sure. How healthy is he going to be for the rest of the season? We don't know that. But I think they will end up in the playoffs, probably take the Clippers out. But you don't really want to play any of these bottom seeds. If you're anyone. Like, it's a tough playoff picture in the West. The Jazz are still really good defensively, and I think they've been a lot better as of late. I don't know how many they've won in their last 10, but I think they've been pretty good. The Spurs are obviously the Spurs. You can never count them out. The Rockets are the 5 seed. I don't think they're going to be as dangerous at the end of the year. And I think the Lakers are going to be tough if you're playing them as an 8 seed. I think that's a tough out for someone. Like, if the Warriors have to play them in the first round, that's probably a tougher first-round matchup than most of the other teams could give them. just because I think LeBron knows so much about their system, and Rondo's a savvy playoff guy. I think they could give him some trouble, but yeah, no, at the end of the year, I think we're still going to see Golden State out on top, and we're going to see James Harden sitting at home, and we're going to be wondering, why does he try so hard during the regular season and then disappear in the playoffs?
Well, there's only 4 games that separate the 8th seed and the 14th seed. So, I mean, there is still a lot that can happen. We're not even to the All-Star break yet. So there's a lot that can happen.
The trade deadline's coming up in a couple of weeks.
Yeah, there's going to be some headlines thrown around the NBA. So last night, Dennis Smith Jr. returned to the Mavs lineup, dropped 17 points. He played the most minutes. It's been he's missed 6 straight games, the last 3 with illness.
And illness, yes.
And the illness is
general soreness or something.
You're right, the fact that they wanted to trade him, and it just didn't work out. And he still may be traded.
Yes.
But that's got to be awkward coming back into that lineup, being with those coaches and players. Maybe not as much with the players because they're not the one trying to trade you. But the front office, Rick Carlisle, you have to worry about, and Mark Cuban even, and I don't know if a good relationship with him is possible with the way he operates, but it's got to be weird. Do you think that they will keep him? And if they do, can it get better? Can it be totally fixed?
No, I don't think they keep him first. I just don't think he is a good basketball fit next to Luka Doncic. I just don't think it works. I think Dennis Smith Jr. is the kind of guy that needs the ball to be successful. But Luka Doncic is the guy that needs the ball in his hands most of the time on that Mavs team. Just because he's the best player, he can make the most plays. So I don't know where they trade him or what they trade him for. I think he'll be gone by the trade deadline. I think he also realized that it's not a great basketball fit, and he kind of was okay with being shipped out. So I don't know how he'll feel coming back. I feel like he'll kind of have more of an understanding, like, okay, we didn't find what we wanted, so we're going to keep you around. But I would expect him to be gone by this time next year. I would imagine him to not be a Dallas Maverick. I don't know what they can get for him. Maybe you can send him to Phoenix and get some kind of pick or a young guy. None of their young guys are really that great, but I just don't see this being a long-term deal. I think it's fine in the short term. I think the Mavs and Dennis Smith Jr. are both fine with the current situation, but it will not be like this in the near future.
Well, I think you're right, and it's just got to be awkward.
Probably. I bet that first conversation with Rick Carlisle is pretty tense,
well,
pretty weird.
He was just ill, Logan. He was just ill.
And then he was hanging out with fans. He's taking pictures at lunch.
Well, I mean, I agree with you. I don't think he's going to be a Dallas Maverick for much longer. But back in the lineup, played the most amount of minutes last night, and the Mavs are 21 and 26. I mean, they're 12. I mean, they're 4 games out of the playoff spot, but I don't think the Mavs are going to make that.
Yeah,
push.
I mean, if they made a move for someone, we don't know who's on the trade block, because it's kind of a weird trade season. Not a lot of teams are buying or selling. Everyone kind of in the West at least, everyone kind of thinks like we have a shot to at least make the playoffs.
Right.
Now the Memphis Grizzlies just kind of made it public that they're willing to listen to offers for Marc Gasol and Mike Conley. So maybe you do something there. If you're Dallas, maybe Dennis Smith Jr. and Wesley Matthews contract. Maybe you can get Mike Conley, something like that. I think that would help them a lot. I think Marc Gasol could help them a lot. I think Dallas is one of those teams that might be interested in making a move at the deadline, but we'll have to wait and see.
Well, there's another thing that happened in the NBA last night, and Devin Booker and Georgia Deng.
Oh, my gosh. They were going to exchange jerseys. It was going to be cool. People do that all the time now.
Sort of it wasn't a fight. It was, I guess you call it a scuffle.
Yeah.
I don't think Devin Booker truly wanted any part of
Gorgui Dieng?
Did not.
Yeah. I wouldn't. That guy is huge. He's way stronger than me. I would not want to fight that guy.
He's way stronger than Booker as well.
I applaud Devin Booker, though, for making it look like he wanted to fight him.
Yeah, making it look like is a loose term, though, because he was one of those where he was, like, walking away mouthing.
Yeah. But then did you see him run?
Yeah.
They were trying to meet up in the tunnel, and they had to hold Devin Booker back. I thought they were going to, like, accidentally pull his pants down or something. He was trying to, like, break away. And
it would not have been a good move.
It would not. It would have been a bad look for the NBA. I'm glad nothing broke out, no fight or anything like that. But the NBA, it just stays full of drama.
The NBA, always and forever, is the king of petty wars.
That's right.
That's what it is. We're going to take a quick break, come back and talk about the Cowboys Bedlam matchup tonight, what the Cowgirls are doing up in Manhattan, and how the Cowboy wrestling team had a lot of success out on the East Coast this weekend. We'll be right back on 101.
One-on-One is brought to you by Oklahoma Air National Guard. Contact Oklahoma Air National Guard at 800-GO-TO-ANG or visit their website at goang.com/OK for more information about how to get 100% college tuition. And Unitarian Universalist Church. If you're looking for a church home, visit Unitarian Universalist Church of Stillwater, located at 320 South Stallard Street. They offer an alternative spiritual path and welcome all races, religions, and beliefs. They're also LGBTQ friendly. Services every Sunday at 10:30. We'll be right back.
Stillwater Medical Center now offers a convenient way to view your health information online. It's secure, easy, and free. Our hospital and clinic patient portals allow you to view results and reports, medications and allergies, track visit histories, view upcoming appointment information, and see your statements. To enroll, go to stillwatermedical.com and click on the patient portal link near the top right of the page. If you have questions, please feel free to call 405-533-6010.
Welcome back to One on One on Osher Student Radio KXUI Suddenlink Channel 112 live from Studio 318. It is Bedlam basketball. Oh, but it is Bedlam basketball, and that's
yes.
kind of because last time on January 5th, the Sooners beat the Cowboys by 10 down in Norman.
Yeah.
Now they're coming to Galgarai, but tonight, I don't know, with 9 scholarship players, obviously they've got the walk-on practice squad now of 5 or 6 players. This team, it's just seems to be getting worse and worse.
Yeah.
Got beat pretty bad. A 72-62 loss I talked about, 74-64, excuse me, on January 5th. A 72-59 loss to Iowa State this last weekend. How do you see tonight going? How can the Cowboys win?
It's hard. Like you said, 9 scholarship players. It's not a great squad that's going to go out there for the Cowboys, but I think they just have to play hard, play good defense. I think if they play good defense, the offense will come to them. It's a lot easier to get into your offense when you're at home. I'm hoping the crowd is going to be just as good as it was last year. I don't think it will be, but I really hope it is because it's still Bedlam, you know?
Yeah,
at the end of the day, it's still Bedlam, and these guys deserve a good home crowd. I feel like there's going to be a lot of people there. It's going to be really loud, as Galgarai can get, and I think if they just stick their noses down and play hard defense, they'll be fine.
I mean,
it's going to be hard to do without getting into foul trouble, though.
Foul trouble and their depth is just, I mean, it's getting – and what are you going to say to the other team? Just don't expose their depth? No.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what you have to go after, and no one's going to knock the opposing team for it.
Right.
I mean, it's just unfortunate that they fall into 9 scholarship players, or 8 scholarship players, 9 on the roster. Yeah. Meaningful minutes it's just a tough thing for the Cowboys right now.
Yes.
Hopefully they can win tonight. What will you put the final score at?
If we win?
I mean, what do you think is going to happen tonight?
I think OU's going to win. I'm going to say the score is going to be 59-48. 50.
Well, I mean, at least that'd hold them to 59 points. I mean, that.
I really think they can hold them to under 60.
Under 60, but you still think the Cowboys would
Yeah.
lose. I think you're on the right track, but for the sake of being different,
There you go.
I'll say the Cowboys win tonight, 62-59.
All right.
A late 3 from
Okay.
Thomas DeZongua puts the Cowboys over the top.
That would be a great story.
It would be a great story, and if it actually happens, I will look like a genius
You
on
will.
Friday. We will play this bit
That's
on
right.
Friday. So 62-59, Thomas DeZongua hits a buzzer beater
Okay.
at the end to beat the Sooners. Let's hope it happens.
That's right.
Let's hope it happens. But get out to Galgribe tonight.
Yes.
Cheer on the Cowboys. It is Bedlam. It is basketball season. It's Bedlam in any sport, anywhere is a fun environment. So go cheer on the Cowboys to a Bedlam victory. Cowgirls are up in Manhattan, a place they've only won twice in the last 10 years.
Right.
They got the win over the Jayhawks up in Lawrence, 72-62 this weekend. Like I said, it's been difficult for the Cowgirls to go up and win in Manhattan.
Yeah.
They're 12-4. K-State's 12-6. We're not going to pretend like I know what Kansas State basketball is about.
Yeah.
Either team. I really don't pay too much attention to Kansas State, to be honest with you. But it's when you've only won 2 in the last decade, that's got to be in your mind a little bit.
For sure. And I think this Cowgirls team, I think they can make it 3 victories.
3-11.
Yep. I think we can go to 3-11 because I mean, this Cowgirls team has blown away my expectations for them. At the beginning of the season, I thought they would be just below a 500 team, something like that. They're currently 4th in the Big 12. They have really stepped up. Like you said, a win at Kansas, a win against Texas Tech. They've been right around 500 in their past couple of games, but they're slightly above 500. So I think there's a really good chance they could go in, snap the streak. Whatever. I agree. Whenever you lose that many times, it's mental. So I think they can get over it tonight, and they've got a couple of rough ones coming up. Number 20, Iowa State. When is that? That is on Saturday. And then you go to the 30th, number 2, Baylor. Yeah. That's going to be a really tough one. But I think they can go, if they can win this one, I think that can help them build momentum into their next couple of games. So we'll just have to see.
All right, score prediction for this one.
I'm going to go 60. I'm going to go 64-58.
Oklahoma State.
Yes.
64-58. I will go 70-67. Cowgirls get a win for the third time in 11 years.
You like these close games.
I do like the close games. So another Cowboy team, that Oklahoma State team that had a lot of success this weekend, maybe the most successful team this university has, and has been that way for a long time. Cowboy Wrestling went out east and dominated.
Absolutely.
Dominated West Virginia in a 40-3 win over the Mountaineers, and a 33-9 win over number 14 Pitt. We've talked about this before, Logan, is the Big 12 only has 4 real, actual Big 12 teams. Iowa State, West Virginia, OSU, and OU. OSU's been dominating everyone, and even the non-conference people that they've wrestled.
Right.
Rutgers, Pitt, they've dominated them.
Yeah.
But there's those Big 10 teams out there. They've got Iowa State coming to town.
Yeah.
They've got Iowa, still have Missouri, a team that came to Galgriba and beat them last year. And when you get to nationals, you still have a Penn State team out there.
Yeah.
And Ohio State. Currently ranked 3rd in the country. Do you think this team can really get it together? I think it's without a doubt they're going to win the Big 12.
Right.
Especially the Big 12 tournament.
Yeah.
But do you think that this team has what it takes to make that push in March to win a national championship?
I don't, and I don't blame them because, like you said, the Big 10 has so many dominant wrestling programs. The Big 12 just doesn't have that, and they don't really have that ability to make such a schedule like that, like the Big 12 or the Big 10 has, where you can be at your best at the end of the year. You have Iowa to end the year. That's going to be a good one. That's a good test. But Air Force, Leahy, Northern Iowa, these are not big-time wrestling programs, and
right.
I think it hurts them so much that there aren't that many other programs in the Big 12, especially other relevant programs.
Yeah,
in the Big 12. OU's a joke. They might as well not have a wrestling team. They won't even wrestle us twice.
No, that's been a topic of conversation many of times on this show. Is Lou Rosselli will not wrestle the Cowboys twice.
Right, but I like going up to Pitt. That's a good program. Iowa's a good program. I just don't think they have what it takes build up.
To bottom.
Yeah, top to bottom. I don't think they have what it takes, and their competition doesn't have what it takes to get them ready. You know, I feel like they just dominate all the way through the year. Maybe they lose a meet or two, but then you get into the nationals, and you run into some of these other guys that are number one whatever in the country, and they're just not ready.
I think this team has. And when I say bad attitude, I don't mean bad attitude towards like. I think they're a bunch of bad guys that they want to win.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
And I think they're tired of that narrative that Oklahoma State hasn't been able to get it done. Because last year, when they got to the final national tournament, it didn't pan out well for the Cowboys.
Right.
And that does not meet John Smith's expectations. That does not. When you sign up to be a wrestler at Oklahoma State, you're signing up to be an All-American, a national championship, and they haven't won a team title in almost 13 years. Penn State is the premier program right now, but in collegiate athletics, Oklahoma State wrestling is the pinnacle of success.
Right.
It always has been, and it will be for a long time. Penn State's got to win 20 straight before they can get to us. But somebody has got to get in their way, and why not Oklahoma State? I don't know if it'll happen this year.
Yeah.
But I think the attitude with this team and with John Smith is they can do it. Doesn't mean they will, but I think they can, and Oklahoma State fans should feel the same way.
I agree. I think I'll have a more sound opinion whenever they face Iowa. That's the biggest challenge they'll face all year, and it's going right into the Big 12 tournament and then straight into nationals.
Right.
So,
and we have
that's in Stillwater, by the way, so people should go to that on
Iowa
February
State
24th.
this Sunday, and then we have Iowa in less than a month.
Right.
A little over a month, but close enough.
Yeah.
So big duels here at Oklahoma State. So Galgaribe should be fun. We went to the Bedlam match,
Yes.
and that was really fun to go
That was
to.
great. It's just great to watch us beat OU that badly.
Yeah, it was pretty fun.
Honestly, they beat everyone kind of close to that badly. So I mean,
Yes.
if there's a home meet, Iowa State's a home meet this Sunday, everyone should go. Yeah. Everyone should go out and support these guys because they are awesome.
Yeah, go out, support that. We'll talk about all this NBA news. I'm sure stuff will happen before now on Friday, but we'll be back on Friday. Thank you for watching 101 on Sunlink Channel 112. We'll see you Friday.
Determining your future by selecting a major can be difficult.
It's okay to be undecided.
Connect with the College of Arts and Sciences, where your options are endless.
Where you can uncover your passions and achieve your goals.
Express your creativity by exploring a career in the visual and performing arts.
Investigate new discoveries to make the world a better place with a career in science.
Advance knowledge, communicate progress, and contribute to a healthier planet with a career rooted in the social sciences.
Discover your career by looking at the world from different perspectives through the humanities.
Realize a better tomorrow through problem solving and mining data that can change lives.
Cash prepares you to succeed through internships, study abroad, student-guided research projects, and service activities.
With 109 majors, 52 minors, and 24 departments, the only thing missing is you. College of Arts and Sciences.
Connect.
Achieve. Succeed.
When you have a team of physicians and nurses that really truly care about their patients, that translates into patient care.
It's a small practice, it's a small town. Everybody really takes that time to put the patient first.
Everybody cares what's happening to me and that I'm making progress and I'm gaining my freedom back and my mobility back. This patient is saying thank you.
This spring, I invite you to shop in downtown Stillwater. Downtown Stillwater is home to locally owned shops, boutiques, eateries, and dependable professionals that you can trust. Find the perfect gift for your graduate, have a delicious meal with mom, or just stop in to enjoy great spring savings. By creating a demand for local goods and services, you can ensure a place for the local businesses that help give our community character and keep it unique. On behalf of downtown Stillwater, thank you for shopping local.